This is our June grocery haul. We go grocery shopping once a month and I'm able to keep all of our produce fresh the entire time and have all the ingredients I need in my house to make a variety of different meals. If you're just meeting me, my name is Amy Cross and this is the Cross Legacy, where I teach you how to save money on groceries. Our grocery budget is $135 per person, and currently there's only 2 people living here in my house. But we find that we are feeding extra people about 10 times a month. So we are still sticking to the grocery budget that we have set for our household, but we are able to stretch that out and feed multiple people. Now we are going to go through this grocery haul, going through the produce items first, and then we will work our way through the dairy and protein items and pantry items, and then show you some of the bulk items that I bought for long-term food storage. At the very end of the video, I'll also go through all of the totals and teach you how I'm able to keep money in my grocery account so I can do some extra splurges sometimes. Now, about the first half of this video is going to be produce items because I have bought a lot of produce items this time, but I know how to keep all of these fresh for almost a month. Things that I've learned over the years is how to use up the items that I know that are going to go bad quicker and be able to keep some of the other items longer so we can have fresh produce the entire time. I got 2 packages of raspberries, knowing that I'll be able to keep these fresh for 2 to 3 weeks after I wash them and store them. And then I got a package of grapes that after I wash and store these will stay fresh 4 to 6 weeks. So I know that we want to eat up the raspberries mostly first and save the grapes for later. I got a cantaloupe and a honeydew, and this too, I know to eat the cantaloupe first because it will start ripening, and you can smell your kitchen when you walk in if your cantaloupe is overripe. And then a honeydew that we will open later, and I always save watermelon for July. When I was picking out my pineapple, I actually tried to get one that was not as ripe so we can continue to use this later in our month grocery shopping cycle. Almost all of the produce items that we're going to be talking about today, we have separate videos for each of them if you're wanting to learn new tips also. So make sure that you ask in the comments if you're looking for a particular produce item, and I'm happy to send you a link. I got 2 bundles of oranges. We got some mandarins and some navel oranges, and that way we can keep these fresh for a month. As we're washing them and putting them away in the refrigerator, they will actually stay fresh for a lot longer than that. Normally, I don't get such a huge bag of limes, but we went to the chef store and this bag was actually cheaper than the smaller bag at Costco. And the same thing with lemons. I ended up getting double the amount that I normally get of lemons, and it was less expensive at the chef store than at Costco, which used to be called Cash and Carry, and now it's called the US Foods Chef Store if you have one near you. But I was thinking of all the different things that I could do with lemons and limes over the summertime, and as I wash them and then put them away in the crisper drawer, those are going to stay fresh for the entire rest of the summer. Now, normally this is when I'm talking about avocados, but they were tiny and I wasn't buying them. They were rock hard and just like golf ball size, I swear. They were really small, or maybe the size of an egg. It just seemed like they were really small. So I didn't buy any avocados this time. But as you're storing your citrus away, if you keep your avocados with your citrus, they will stay fresh for a month. I do have 1.5 avocados left from my last grocery shopping cycle, so we will still be able to enjoy some avocado. And speaking of that, we went grocery shopping last on May 11th, and this grocery shopping trip was on June 14th, and we're actually filming it on June 15th, and then we're going to wash all this produce and get it put away. But it had been just over 32, 33 days since I had went to the grocery store last. I did have a couple heads of lettuce out in the garden that we were using, but now it's gotten too hot out there and the lettuce is done for the season. But I picked up 2 more romaines that we're going to use for salad season. And then I also have a package of spinach that I'm going to use. We're probably going to use most of this for fresh eating, but as we get closer to the next grocery shopping cycle, if I haven't used all of this up, then I'll end up putting some of it into the freezer. And then for salads, I also got some cucumbers. I still have some radishes left over from last time. And I always get a large bag of carrots. I go through an entire bag of carrots in a month. I eat them almost every single night as I'm making dinner. And this bag actually has 4 heads of celery in it. If we don't end up using all the celery by the end of the month, then this is another one that I can end up putting in the freezer, and then you can just chop it from frozen to add to meals. I know this is a lot of green onions. It's actually 2 pounds of green onions, but I got them for a video, and this way I can show you how I keep them fresh. But I wanted to show these green onions that are actually over 2 months old now. And I figured out that it was cheaper to get this huge package at the Chef's store. It was cheaper than getting 3 bundles at the grocery store. So I ended up getting this large package. And then I'll end up being able to chop some of this up and put it into the freezer. So we'll be able to use it for a really long time. It's just a good reminder that the things that I show you in videos are actually things that we are bringing into our house as groceries. I haven't washed these yet because I haven't washed any of the produce, but I did make sure to put these in filtered water when I brought them home, and I trimmed the ends. So as we are getting ready to wash things today, they are still fresh, but this is parsley and cilantro. This is a good reminder to also put filtered water or whatever water you drink into the items like this, because it will help keep the plants alive. Our tap water has too much chlorine in it, and the plants do not like it. Even my house plants, they really notice when I accidentally put tap water in them instead of filtered water. I did get a package of squash at Costco. Sometimes these have zucchini and yellow squash mixed together. This time it's just green zucchini. I also got some green beans and some snap peas that you want to make sure that you only soak these for 1 minute when you are washing them, because water will get inside of them and they will not ever dry out. Peas were something else that we were enjoying out in the garden. We just have a small garden bed on our patio that we have been able to plant a little bit of those spring veggies, but now as things are getting too hot in the 90s, the peas are done for the season. I got a ton of peppers. We normally use these smaller peppers as snacks and using them for veggie trays and different things, dipping in hummus or ranch, but we use these mostly for snacking. And then I got a package of red and green onions. These we will use for meals also, but then at the end of the grocery shopping cycle, if I still have any left, I can always chop it up and put them in the freezer for later. I did get some Yukon potatoes and some sweet potatoes. I have been making this high protein potato salad that I want to be able to show in a video, so I made sure to pick these up. And then with the sweet potatoes, I love being able to cook these in the Instapot so it doesn't heat up the house, and we have them really often with black beans. I did get 2 heads of garlic. I'm going to be making some teriyaki sauce, and I love being able to put fresh garlic in that. And then we still have some ginger left over in the refrigerator and in the freezer. Now I did buy 10 pounds of red onions. This is something that I normally don't buy this many at a time, but I figured out it was actually a better deal to get this larger quantity than just a couple. So I ended up doing this, and we're going to end up using quite a few of these to make pickled onions that will go in the refrigerator for all summer long. Now I do have one more thing that I am not going to lift up, but we will show you a picture of. I bought a 50-pound bag of onions. Now I normally don't do that until the fall harvest time, but I ended up getting a really great deal on this, and I can go ahead and chop a lot of these up as I have free time over the summertime and get them into the freezer, so I have an easy step for meal prep. These are the last 2 onions I have left from that 50-pound box that I got back in September when we first moved into the house, and I purposely haven't been using these so I could show you how long they would last. I know that this seems like a lot of produce, but this is all produce that our family is actually going to eat, and we will have 0 waste with the produce because I know how to store it properly. In our zero waste produce guide, it has every single produce item here listed A to Z. There's 75 in total, teaching you how to keep them fresh for weeks and to properly store them. We are also going to film a produce washing and putting away produce items for this grocery haul that will come up a couple days after this grocery haul goes on the channel. Next, we are going to move into dairy items. I like getting this Kerrygold cheese. It is one of my favorites. It's a natural cheddar, and we find that we don't use as much because it's really sharp. And I made pizzas the other day and realized that I used up the last of the mozzarella that we had. I had bought a block of this in September and then divided it into smaller chunks so I could shred it easier and put it in the freezer. So we had it for pizzas for the last, 9 months, and now we are buying mozzarella again. And I will do the same thing again, dividing this up in chunks and then just put it into the freezer, and it will stay fresh for many months. But this was only $12 and we make homemade pizzas at home. Every summer we get one of these marinated mozzarella balls. I always put these in quart-sized jars in the refrigerator, and as long as you stir it up occasionally or just shake the jar, then they will stay loose and don't clump all together. But these will actually stay fresh for over a year in your refrigerator. We always get a tub of cottage cheese. Mike uses this a lot for snacks, like afternoon snacks, especially with some pineapple on it, is something that he really enjoys. But I have learned over the years to incorporate a lot of these different cottage cheese and Greek yogurts into different recipes, so it bumps up the protein also. Now, Mike was with me when I was at Costco, and he saw the sour cream while I was looking for the Greek yogurt, and we thought that they were out of Greek yogurt, and so he ended up getting sour cream too, which was okay. It was still in the budget. Normally we got the Kirkland brand that had the green label, and that one you could really use as a sour cream replacement and still use it in your smoothies and in recipes. But this one with the blue label that they have now, it doesn't taste quite the same. So if you're wanting it true like sour cream, you might want to get the sour cream instead of the blue label Kirkland one. And we did get some half and half. A lot of these items, I do wish that they had more organic options, but I still rather have true half and half than some kind of coffee creamer that has additives in it. For the milk, I have been getting these cases of milk that has 4 cartons of the A2 organic milk in it. And this one is actually 2 months old. They last about 8 weeks, and it just expires this week, and we've been just finishing it up. There's only about a cup left at the bottom. But it is nice as we are using up the milk, it's not taking extra space in the refrigerator. I do love that this milk lasts for about 2 months unopened. The best by date on this is August 9th. So I don't necessarily have to buy milk in July if we don't need it, because this will last all the way till our August grocery shopping trip. I know this seems like a lot of items that go into my refrigerator. I have fridge organization videos and also videos talking about dairy products and how I can get them to last longer. We'll make sure to list some of those videos in the description. But here in this house, we bought the same exact style fridge we had in our old house. And our old house was a counter depth refrigerator that was the French doors. And over the years, I was able to figure out how to store all of this produce and dairy items for an entire month and still feed our family when we had all of our kids at home and also foster kids in our family. So our family could go from the size of the 2 of us all the way up to the size of 8 of us using that counter depth standard fridge. When we moved into this house, we ended up getting that same style of fridge, but I thought I wanted a standard depth one this time, and I actually don't like it as much as my old one because it is too deep and I can barely reach things at the back of the refrigerator. But all of our groceries and produce items, dairy, leftovers, everything is in this kitchen refrigerator. I did get 4 dozen eggs. This seems about the perfect amount of eggs for Mike and I here at the house, and our special little visitor that comes and makes eggs with me in the mornings. And whenever Costco has these sausages on sale, I really like to pick them up. I like that they're already vacuum packed, and so I can just put these in the freezer. And this is mini meals for Mike and I. There's this pineapple and bacon one that they have during the summertime, and then during the fall and winter time, there's an apple one that we also like. And I did pick up some chicken nuggets to make my husband happy, but we really do like these on chicken Caesar wraps in the summertime and for easy, like just chicken salad meals. I had stopped buying the chicken in these packages like 5 years ago, and this is the first time I'm buying it again to see how it does over the summertime. But it seems like these can get frostbitten quicker than the way that I normally buy them, which is in the vacuum sealed packages at Costco. But these are thinner breasts that are much easier to make like teriyaki chicken sandwiches out of during the summertime. So if I do feel like these are getting frostbitten, then I will go back to buying the other ones that I normally do, but I did want to give it a second chance for summer. This might not feel like much meat for you, but we actually have half of a beef in our freezer that we've been eating on for over a year now. And we are able to buy that beef with that same grocery budget that we use for everything else. So at the very end of the video, I'll talk about my carryover amount and how I'm saving for the next meat purchase. I kind of lump all of these things in with the pantry items, breads, things that I need to finish a meal. Last week we went back to our hometown area, which was in the Seattle area. And one of the things that I wanted to do was stop at Trader Joe's so I could get some coconut aminos. So this actually lasts for over a year unopened, and I don't need it for probably a couple months, but I wanted to make sure that I picked this up. I do have a soy allergy, so this is my soy replacement when I'm making teriyaki sauces and other items. But some of the other coconut aminos just don't agree with me, and this is my favorite one. Also, when I was at Trader Joe's, I found this can of lentils. I have never bought canned lentils before. I always make them from scratch, but I thought it would be interesting to see how the canned variety tastes with texture compared to making them homemade. I also picked up a glass bottle of rice vinegar. This is a vinegar that I have been out of for a while, and I just kind of keep substituting in other things, but I'm glad to be able to get this, and it will last for a long time. And then I got a little jar of sweet relish because that's what Mike wanted, and I find that this jar is all we go through in the summertime, so I don't need to buy a larger quantity of it. I try to get one salty kind of snack every time we go grocery shopping, so I ended up getting the organic tortilla chips. I will store these in glass jars and they will last for many months. So the next time we go, I'll probably get pretzels or something different. Now, a lot of my tortillas I keep in the freezer, but these tortillas from Costco are actually shelf stable and they will last many months. I love having these on hand to make small little quesadillas, but also for shrimp tacos in the summertime. And Mike made a bunch of hamburger patties at the beginning of summer, so I wanted to make sure to get a package of hamburger buns so we can keep eating those patties up. While we were at Costco, we were shopping. One of our kiddos called to say that the power was out. And at first they thought that the power was only out at their house. And then we realized that there was a fire nearby and the power was out for the entire town. So that made me make another decision while we were at Costco. I don't normally buy these already prepared tortellinis. I normally get the dried ones that we just cook on the stove. But these Mike could warm up on the Blackstone if the power was still out and we needed to have dinner at home. So I did grab these. It is much cheaper just to get frozen ones from the grocery store than the ones from Costco or Sam's, but they are handy to have. And it wasn't getting takeout. So even though they were a little bit more expensive, we are going to have one of those packages for dinner tonight, and then I'll end up putting the other half of the package into the freezer. Now we're going to talk about the two things that I got for long-term food security in our house. I do normally buy the 𝐂𝐍𝐿𝐒 pancake mix, and that's what I have here in my kitchen. But I did pick up a large bag of this pancake mix that you only have to add water to. The other pancake mix, you have to add eggs and other ingredients into it. And when we're talking about long-term food storage, I want something that is really easy. Now this does, in this container, have a 3-year best by date. This is something that I'm going to keep rotating and keep thinking about. But this will not go rancid. It might just end up getting a little flatter as you're trying to make the pancakes. And you can always add extra baking powder to it and it will help lift the pancakes back up. So as long as you have fresh baking powder and you're making sure that you're keeping that rotated in your kitchen and in your food storage, you can liven back up some of these things. As I open this up, I will end up transferring this into a glass jar that will be here in my kitchen, and that way it will stay stay fresh as long as possible. And then the rest of it I end up putting in Mylar bags that will go into our food security. The other thing that we ended up picking up, and it was the reason why we went to the chef store, is I wanted 50 pounds of black beans. These are dried beans that I can make and keep rotating out throughout my pantry. But whatever we don't store in our kitchen will end up going into Mylar bags, into food safe grade buckets, and that way we have food security for many years when it comes to beans, which are an excellent source of protein and fiber. And this is just a great way that I keep restocking our food security so we always have what we need for a really long extended period of time if our grocery store shelves were ever empty again like they were during the pandemic. We do have more videos on our pantry and having food security if that is something that you're looking on having food security in your home too. And no grocery shopping trip would be complete without at least one thing fun. I got some waffle cups and some whipped cream, and we have our own ice cream machine so we can make homemade ice cream sundaes for Father's Day. So how our grocery budget works is Mike puts $135 per person in our family. So for the two of us, that's $270 that goes into my grocery account once a month. This is a debit card that I only use for groceries. And many of the months throughout the year, I don't spend the entire month, and then we end up with a rolling carryover amount. So at the end of 2025, I had a rolling carryover amount that I kind of tried to forget about, but it's just a little bit of a buffer in my account. If you're curious about that, we have posted every single one of our grocery hauls for years now on the channel, so you can go back and see what those carryover amounts are and how things accumulate. So before I went grocery shopping, I had $270 for my June grocery shopping budget, and then I had $184.80 that was left over in that carryover budget for 2026. So total that I have that I want to spend, again, there's some money that I'm trying to forget about from 2025 that's still in there, is $454.80. So that is what my grocery budget was, and I will tell you all of the numbers of what I spent. So for June 2026, I went to 𝐂𝐿𝐻, and these stores are like almost an hour away from us. So it's not where we are just running down the street and it's easy. This ends up being a full day of grocery shopping for us. But my first stop was to 𝐂𝐿𝐻, which is also called the chef store now. I think I will always call it 𝐂𝐿𝐻, but I ended up spending $183.16 there, and that was including this 50-pound bag of onions and the 50-pound bag of black beans. Our second stop of the day was at 𝐂𝐿𝐻𝐒, and there I only spent $16.46. Now, Costco, I did spend more than I normally do, and it was $192 and also 46 cents. It's funny that 𝐂𝐿𝐻 and Costco both came in at 46 cents. And I spent $4.48 at Trader Joe's last week on the coconut aminos and the lentils. In total, what I spent was $396.56 to get not only all the ingredients I need for the next month, but thinking long-term for many of these items. Now we will go back to talking about that total that I have for the June grocery budget and the 2026, which was $454.80. This grocery shopping trip was $396.56. So in my 2026 carryover amount that I still have left over that I could spend is $58.24 for my new carryover amount. And then Mike puts in my grocery money in July, and that just starts over for the next month. I keep track of all of our meals, the ingredients we have in our house, how much I'm spending at the grocery stores in these grocery planners. I have been doing this for over 10 years now, and it's so nice to be able to go back and see what we were buying as a family, how things have changed, how prices have increased, but how we're still able to have the things that we need in our house to make wholesome meals. And the grocery planners and also my Zero Waste Produce Guide are listed in the description and a discount code, and there's 5 5 different covers of the planners so you can pick the one that you like the most. And if you're wondering what I do with all of these groceries, we put out a meals video every 2 weeks that shows you the meals that we're making, and it gives you more of a sneak peek of things that are happening at our house and with our family. I spend time every single day trying to make sure that I have all of the YouTube questions and comments answered. So know that I really like to engage with you. You are never bothering me if you're asking a question, and I truly want to help you have food security in your home too.